What's up guys, it's Rune here, and this video is another tutorial video on Darius, our favorite champion. Um, this video is going to focus on his rune selection, where I will be going into detail on every single rune page that is viable, all the runes that are usable, and into what kind of situations and matchups you should be taking each of these runes into it, like optimally, like how to use each rune to its highest potential, basically. If you have any questions, you can always come find me live on twitch.tv/RokuTV. I'll have the icon right here, and I will be playing Darius there all the time, obviously, but I will also be answering your detailed questions, doing OPGG reviews to give you more specific advice, and just trying to be funny to provide content, because that's what streamers do, I guess. I also have a Discord server, and I will be on there pretty much the whole day. So if you need a question answered and I'm not streaming, just join my Discord and type it in one of the league-related channels, and I will get to you just as fast as I possibly can. Just trust me, I have no life. I have nothing better to do. And we're a smaller community at the moment, but with some work, we can get the Discord to be popping, and we could all just help each other and have a good time playing this game. And as per usual with all YouTubers and shit, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. just subscribe, man. Just like or subscribe, I guess. And also, if you have any specific questions about the video, you could always type it in the comment section, and I will answer those as well. So let's actually get into it. So we're actually gonna start off with the most important rune page you need to know on Darius, because with Darius, Darius is a very versatile champion in terms of what keystones can be usable, right? But we're not looking for usable, we're looking for optimal, The usable ones require changes in your playstyle and require you to play a bit differently here and there, and are either harder to use or are really good at one specific thing. Sometimes you might need that specific thing so much that you're going to give up this general power of the Conqueror rune, which is the best one. But most of the time, you're mostly going to be going for Conqueror. So yeah, let's just get into it. So Conqueror is overall the best keystone for most fighter top laners, and Darius is no exception. They buffed it to be stronger early game, which is only a buff to Darius. The lifesteal is just insane, because it just lets you win fights that you otherwise couldn't have. And let's say you miss your Q, your R still gives you quite a decent chunk of healing, so it's a pretty good keystone. So we got Conqueror. So Conqueror, out of these three, all of them are somewhat usable, and I will get into them as we go down the keystones, as we go down the rune pages. But right now I'm giving you the most optimal one. You want to be using this page for 99% of your games, okay? The other keystones, you can try them, right? You can try Push the Attack, you can try Grasp, you can try Hail of Blades. You can just mess around with them, see if they fit your playstyle, and if you have fun using them, and if you can use them in a way that that's unique to you, or you just like them, then you're free to use those. And I will be giving you the optimal trees to use when you're using those keystones. But this one is there's no there's no debate between Darius players as to which keystone is the best, alright? So Conqueror, Triumph, because look, out of these three, Triumph is the only good one. It's the only one that synergizes with Darius, this. We don't need mana. We do not need mana. I mean, we kind of do need it, because Darius does build Triumph first, and that helps his mana pool greatly. But the thing is, what would you rather have, right? This is a result of poor mana management, If you're running out of mana on Darius, then you're managing your mana poorly and just spamming way too many abilities in lane, right? You need to just take a step back and use your abilities more intelligently. And besides, if you're just spamming your Q in lane and running out of mana, chances are you're just auto pushing your fucking lane and walking into certain death over and over and over again, which is stupid. It's not stupid. It is required sometimes, to hard shove and stuff, but just be more patient. You know, patience is the greatest tool of a Darius player. Patience and fucking metal music. I will be putting lo-fi onto this video though. I kind of want to have a more chilled vibe. Uh, Interruptions. Anyway, so for this, section overall, we do not want to be using Legend Bloodline at all. Like other Darius players will think differently, but in my honest opinion, I think lifesteal is like not a good, like item. Like it's not worth it to waste your gold into lifesteal. Like this means all lifesteal items and also Death Stance. Now, Death Stance is spell vamp, and you might be thinking, oh, like Conquer heals. Like if healing is bad, why are you taking Conquer? But it's because like Conquer is a bit different because it just like it kind of just synergizes with Darius's kit a bit better, and it just comes with the AD. It's like the AD is the good part. Like I've tried experiments with this on practice tool, and the AD you get from Conquer adds like 100 to like 150 damage to your full combo at like level 11 or so. Like level 6 or so, it adds like an entire auto attack's worth of damage just out of nowhere. And you actually heal that. The healing's kind of extra, and the healing is actually very good, and it's really clutch, and it helps you in certain key scenarios. But like like it's just okay. In my opinion, spending your other stats on like things that like buying tank items is way better than buying lifesteal items. Because like you don't do that much damage on Darius until you get your Noxian Might. If you buy lifesteal, you're gonna be getting blown the fuck up. So you're not even going to be able to get to your Noxian Might, especially if it's late game. And ADCs are out here, two-shotting everyone, You don't want to be, like, in the middle of that shit, Just get tankier items. But these are runes, and it kind of goes the same here, This lifesteal does not work at all. It's a late-game rune. And we all know how fucking amazing Darius is late game. I mean, his late game is pretty underwhelming, compared to his, other forms. Because in late game, you are very, very reliant on your team. And if you get caught for 2 seconds, you might as well just be dead, because there's no way you're getting out alive. Because everyone just does so much damage. So our two other alternatives are Legend Alacrity, so the attack speed one, and Tenacity. For the most part, you want to be taking Legend Alacrity, alright? This lets you 1v1 champions a lot better. If you're running Black Cleaver, it is very important that you take Legend Alacrity, actually. Because, like, with Black Cleaver, you have very, very low attack speed. And Darius with low, like, you need attack speed on Darius. Because, like, I don't know what's, like Riot decided to add another weakness to Darius, and now they've given him a sub-zero attack speed scaling. So, like, you're gonna be on, like, 0.8 attack speed like at level 18 or so, which is just ridiculous. But like, what can we do, right? So we gotta just adapt. So if you're going Triforce, you could opt to take the Tenacity like a bit more. You could also take the attack speed with Triforce to have even more attack speed. But like, with a Darius, attack speed is like, if it's up to 1 or like 1.1 at most, then that's enough. You don't need any higher. Up to that is good enough. Any higher is like, you're kind of just like fucking around at that point, because you're not just going to be standing in front of the champion and just autoing them away, they're going to CC you, you're going to get caught down, held down, and just blown up by their mages or whatever the fuck, you can't just stand an auto attack. The auto attack is better for, dueling champions, for 2v3s, for like 1v3s or 1v2s, and also attack speed. If you watch my previous video, the RWQ cancel is much, much faster to do if you have higher attack speed. So, we need to have a solid amount of attack speed in our Darius kit somewhere. And putting it in the rune section allows for us to have like a much easier timing game, because without attack speed, you will not be able to 1v1 any champion, I mean, you will be able to, of course, but like, it will be significantly harder to 1v1 like the bigger, bruisers and shit, who like Irelia, Jax, and Renekton, all these big, Kled, of course. But Kled we outscale him with, so he's not that big of an issue. So, Attack speed is good. Tenacity. Now, sometimes the attack speed is only good to a certain extent, where like the tenacity might just help us a lot. This is where like, you know, the whole concept of like building your runes every single game comes into play, because you don't want to just have one like keystone, rune page that you have for every single game. I advise you to basically have like one rune page that is like, it doesn't really have like anything on it, just like have one rune page, and basically like with that rune page you're gonna be like, you're in champ select, the enemies have picked their champions, you've picked your champion, whatever the fuck, you don't need to do anything else, and you look at their enemy team and you build your runes from ground up. You base them on the enemy team and like what they have. So if they have a lot of CC, like Brom, Leona, Sejuani, Ornn, TF sometimes, Lux, like all like Nautilus, like the examples of these champions with a lot of CC, especially Leona. If they have a Leona on the enemy team, take tenacity. It's not worth it to go attack speed, because like Riot has allowed Leona to just like keep a champion stunned for 6 seconds straight without you being able to do anything about it. So like, if you want to actually have, play the game in team fights, you better pack some tenacity. I guess some of the other champions, like let's say it's Braum, if you're kind of confident that you can just avoid Braum's autos and Qs, you might go for attack speed anyway, because it's the better, more aggressive option. But tenacity works better if you're like, okay, this CC is not that difficult to hit on me, I can't really dodge it, so I might as well take this just to be safe. So that's, you're going to want to be deciding between one of these two. Down here, now, the coup de grace used to be a viable option, and like there's a few cases right now where it still can be useful, like Tryndamere, where like you're not really like, the reason coup de grace is counterintuitive on Darius is when the enemy gets low enough, you're going to be killing them with your ultimate anyway, and true damage cannot be reduced, cannot be increased, it's just true damage. Nothing can be done about it except spell block it, So coup de grace really doesn't make sense on Darius now, does it, if he has an execute. Now, as I mentioned before, it might work into a few specific cases like Tryndamere, because with Tryndamere, you're not always going to be able to kill him with your ultimate, and your focus is going to be just to put him down as quickly as possible, So let's say you're fighting him, he uses ultimate, and he's on 10 HP. This is the point where you start kiting, kite. Don't let him just sit in your face and just, do his fucking stupid ass like, don't let him do that shit, kite him. And, once he's gonna learn that at some point, like his ult's gonna run out, and you're gonna turn back and kill him, right? And coup de grace kind of helps in these sorts of situations where like your goal is to just like, as soon as his ult is down, maybe he heals, maybe he doesn't, just like it helps your bleed basically solo kill him, What the fuck is this bullshit? These fucking songs, man. Alright, so let's your bleed just kill him on its own, right? Or your auto attack, I guess, but it's mostly to help with their bleed. But that's only the one specific scenario where it might work, and even then, last stand is just better. Just take last stand. It's the only one viable. It's much like Triumph. It's the only viable one in this section. So like, you mostly want to be keeping these the same for all of your games if you're running this page, and you should be running this page for the most part. So secondary, what do we take? It's obvious. Resolve. Now this is where like the adapting to your team part comes more into play, like here, there are many things here, adapting to the enemy team, adapting to your own team, and like it doesn't really define your playstyle, but it just boosts part of your play. That like let's just say second wind, for example. You want to be taking second wind into ranged poke matchups. Like second wind combined with Doran's shield or triple rejuve beads, if you're running that into like the super poke lanes like Lucian or whatever the fuck. The amount of healing you get back from like second wind is actually insane. it's just insane. So you want to take that into Pokemon matchups. But let's just start from the top down, and then work our way in a more mannered way. So Demolish is obviously the way to go here, and Demolish lets you just take plates with so much ease. It's like, oh, you push a guy, like if you're up against a champion like that, you're just dominated, and they're just sitting under their turret, and like they're afraid of touching you under their own turret. Or like it's a champion that, like, once they fall behind, they don't really do damage at all. Like you can just ignore them. If it's a champion like that, and if you're in those kinds of cases where you're that much ahead, but you can't quite, just like you're fed, but you're not just fed enough to just dive and kill them. Into those situations, you won't be taking Demolish, because what you can just do is like make sure the enemy jungler is not topside when you do this, by the way. But you go up to the enemy turret, you just activate Demolish, and then you walk the fuck out, and that's a free plate, 120 gold, or whatever Ryan has it at in the current patch that you're playing. It is just a free source of gold. And if you're playing in a matchup where you are gonna win, like you're playing against the Yasuo, and Irelia, and a Scion, for example, you mostly want to be taking Demolish, because like it's just more gold out of nowhere. It just makes more gold. And this item actually pays off so much, because not only does this give you plates early game, this makes your roams even stronger, because you can go and help your mid lane take down their turrets and like a lot more easily, and it makes you a lot stronger of a split pusher. Like with Demolish and Triforce, you just melt turrets like this. You melt them stronger than like a Jax even, because the thing is, Darius's E armor pen actually works on turrets, so you just cleave through turrets like butter. So Demolish is definitely like worth taking if you're confident about the lane, and you're just gonna dominate. The second section, you can actually use every single one of these 3 runes, right? And I'll go through which ones is good for which situations. Conditioning is going to be the one you're using the least, and you want to take conditioning into lanes where you're just very confident that you're going to win, right? Like Scion, you just don't need either of these, and I'll get to them in a bit, but like it's like when you don't need any more help in lane and just want to tank up. So yeah, conditioning is very, very, very powerful when combined with Mountain Drake, because like if you get like a Mountain Drake, you're legit looking at like 10% extra armor and magic resist, which is like insane. It just tanks you up so much early game. And if it's a Mountain Drake soul, then like 2 Mountain Drakes is just gonna make you like have all the resistances you're gonna need. So like this is very strong if you're confident about your lane. But if the lane's a bit of a trickier mess, these 2 runes come in. Second Wind. I love Second Wind. Why? A lot of Darius players will take, or top laners will assume, like, will recommend you to take bone plating. What I don't like about bone plating is that it can be counterplayed, right? Let's say you're up against the Riven, right? And bone plating basically works into lanes where your opponent doesn't want to just briefly graze you. They want to go in, do their combo, and get out, right? It works into Renekton. It works into Riven. It works into Aurelia too. Actually, it works into Aurelia too. Like those sorts of like bursty matchups. That's why you want to take them into. So that, and like bone plating is also slightly better late game and into team fights where like the first few things that hit you aren't going to do too much damage. So bone plating works better into the team fighting phase of the game, and and it works against certain matchups. But it is very, very, very easy to play around. Bone plating has a 45-second cooldown. So if you're up against the Riven and she just briefly grazes you with her Q, that's bone plating down for like a minute or so. Like it's like it can be so very easily counterplayed, and a lot of top laners will do a quick trade to trigger it if it's there and then back off. So like, and you should be doing this too. Like if you have a top laner and you think they're taking bone plating, just Q them, right? Back off. Don't go for an all-in. Just Q, back off, and then go for an all-in, because now they don't have a rune to protect themselves. So like it can be very easily played around, and I've had games where like like I've had bone plating reduce like 30 damage in total. Like have it only be procced once in the whole fucking game, and like it's just not like it can't be counterplayed. And my playstyle with Darius is to make sure that the enemy has as little counterplay as possible. If you let the enemy play, then they're going to be able to outplay you. You have to just like stop them and kill them as quickly as possible so that like they can't, kill you essentially. You have to just be very, very like not aggressive, but very decisive, basically. Second wind, you want to be taking this into like everything essentially. It's like it's such a safe rune. It makes trades way more forgiving. If you're up against an Ornn, like you don't necessarily need to take second wind, but if you do, like let's say you're up against an Ornn and he did his brittle and he just clapped you with his fucking hammers. Now what? If you took any other rune, you'd be fucked. But because you took second wind, you're gonna heal up damage over time and make that trade not as severe. Second wind helps you like a lot. And if you combine it with Doran's shield, it helps even better. It just heals up so much of the poke he takes into Gnar and shit. You won't be taking this, and either D-Shield or triple Reach would be depending on how much you want to all in. And I'll do a video on those items too, but basically Rejuve Bead if you want to just be passive, and D-Shield if you're getting poked but you still want to all in the enemy. Anyway, and also into all poke matchups, take second wind, right? It's just a great keystone. I mean, great rune. Here, all these are also useful, but like these are like not as significant as like demolish or second wind or like demolish or bone plating, But I will explain every single one. So like, if you're up against a high CC range top laner, so like Kennen for example, you want to be running this setup because unflinching, like let's say it's fight time and you gotta go and you gotta fight him, you caught him, you activate your ghost, and the tenacity and that you're gonna get from this rune, combined with the tenacity you took here, is gonna make Kennen stuns worth like very short amount of time. And you build mech treads on top of that, you're looking at like 65% or so tenacity. That's 65% of the CC gone. It's insane, So like, if you're up against a Leona and a high CC team, you want to be going with this setup as well, because like this just lets you just run through the CC. It's just like it's very powerful. It's not underestimated. So this is against like, you also want to be taking this against teams with a lot of slows, Anivia, Gangplank. Those are just examples of people who can really fuck your day up with their slows, especially Anivia. And if you're up against an Anivia and you don't have slow resist, so unflinching, if you don't have unflinching, then you're gonna have a very bad time because Anivia can just roam you, like just zone you solo, and it's just stupid. Revitalize sounds good on Darius, but in practice, it's not always the best thing, Like, the healing is good. The healing is definitely good. And it is significant at certain times, And the 40% mark is actually quite significant because you're going to be using your Q when you're kind of low HP anyway, so the healing is just amplified by like 15% when you're lower HP. It's like a mini Sunfire, and also mini Spirit Visage, apologies. But like, you mostly want to be taking this rune when you already have healing or shields on your team. If you have a Soraka, Sona, Janna, Yuumi, especially Yuumi. Please, if you have a Yuumi on your team, take Revitalize. It is just vital. Get it? Revitalize. Whatever. But if you do like the extra healing on your Qs when you're low HP, then you could take this, It's completely viable. It's just, I don't like it as much. I will use it sometimes, but I do just do things, for fun and not optimally. I'm just giving you what's optimal here, right? Overgrowth. Now, if you don't need either of these, and you don't really want to be taking turret downs, or you want to be taking turrets but you don't really need either of these, like, you'd rather some tankiness instead of, you'd rather health instead of armor, then go for Overgrowth. Overgrowth just gives you, like, a bit more health, I'd say out of these three, Overgrowth is the least useful one, It's still usable, like, if you need that extra HP, like, if you build Cleaver, and, like, you want to get into the Triforce build, and you're not used to having, like, slightly less HP, then you could take Overgrowth, but, like, for the most part, you don't want to be touching this rune at all, And For these, like, you mostly just want to be adapting to your team. You always take attack speed on there. We already discussed the importance of attack speed. Even if you're taking this attack speed here, you want to be taking this with it, you know? Like, it's just, you need it. You need it. Whenever rune page you run, you need this attack speed, alright? For these two, it depends on what you're up against. If you're up against a Riven, double armor. If you're up against a Jace, you know, double armor. You can take some health if you want, if you're not sure who you're up against. Against Cassia, you can take some MR, you know. And if you want to be aggressive, you can take some, you know, some AD and some health. Like, just play around with the stats. It's literally just stats. So sit down. Alright. They have 2 mages in their team. And they have this 180 carry, and there's our tanks. So, because they have 2 mages, like, just plan with your build, alright? So, I'm probably going to be building MR this game, you know? So, what if the 80 carry becomes fed, you know? That's when you get, like, especially if it's an early game, like, 80 carry, like Draven. You kind of just take this, like, okay, I'm going to build Merc Treads for the CC, and I'm gonna build Spirit Visage in the game anyway, but like until I get my armor items to counteract the enemy ADC, I'll just have this armor here, you know? And just plan it with your build. Like, your runes are what's lacking in your item build, you know? Especially those stats. What do you not have? Darius doesn't have too much attack speed, we take attack speed. And then the rest is just adaptable, you know? Do I not have the MR to counteract this champion? I'll get MR. Let's say they have a full AD team, and you're up against an AP, you know, top lane or the AP jungler. It might be worth it to take double MR sometimes, you know, or just 1 MR and then 1 armor, you know. And that is pretty much gonna be it for for this optimal rune page. I've just literally broken down every single rune within, you know, precision resolve, and like, you know, you'll always want to be running Conquer, and this, you know, rune page is what you want to be using for every single one of your games, just all of them, alright? With you switching things up between attack speed, tenacity, between different, you know, stats, between like these runes, depending on what you're up against, what you like to play as, and you know, what you need in game. So like, this video has already gone on for long enough, and the other keystones I go into detail on my Darius guide. So if you actually, like, I will be leaving a link for the Darius guide in the description, and I basically have a detailed breakdown of every single thing in the game that is like Darius related, okay? And this includes all the viable rune pages and, you know, a full breakdown of every single rune in the game and how it works for Darius. So this page that I gave you will work for like, it'll work for all your games, straight up. You don't need to know anything more than what I've just taught you right now. But if you like to experiment with other runes, and if you like to try other runes, like if you want to try PTA, or if you want to try like, you know, some sort of weird Hail of Blades build, you know, go to my guide, because I will have the optimal setup for every single keystone in my guide. And I also have a keystone, you know, tier list telling you, you know, which keystones are the strongest and which keystones are the weakest. So check that out in the comment section below. And that pretty much does it for this video. Sorry for making such a long video, but like, I wanted to just like make sure I had all the details and I didn't want to leave anything out, you know. So yeah, that will pretty much be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and you know, catch me on Twitter, join my Discord, give this video some attention please in terms of likes and subscribes, you know. I'd like to grow my community, and you know, it's actually very fun to like talk to some of you people, like your different experiences on Darius or top lane in general. You know, a lot of people in my community, like some of them don't even play Darius, but they're just there because I'm like a, you know, a readily available source of just high elo advice, you know. So there you have it. I mean, I hope this video helped you out, and I hope to see you live or in my Discord or whatever the fuck, you know. Later.